What's the first words that come to your mind? You can just put it, just jot it down somewhere so we can come back to it. What's the first word that come to your mind? That's important because you see there are
relaxation.
Oh, that's for you, relaxation. What else? Can I hear some more?
Sleep unlimited.
You might not wake. Any more?
Old age.
All right.
Vacation time.
I'm sorry for you all, you know. It's a whole heap more than that. So let's talk. How does the world see this thing called old age? Huh? It's not a very good word as far as the world is concerned.
Dr. Semaj,
yes.
I have one for you that I don't know if the minister will fire me thereafter, but some people are saying lack of sex drive. The lack thereof.
But listen, but that can be counteracted. And that's why there's a whole chapter in my book on how you keep that alive. And that's why I have a whole book on love, sex, and relationship after 60. It gets better with age. It gets better with age. All right? So the words that people talk about, antiquated, gray, oldie, worn, creaky, over the hill, moth-eaten, passe, senior citizen, me not in that we don't know at all. These words are not part of my vocabulary. And I'll tell you why. Now, you see this thing here? I don't do old age. The only time you see this thing called senior citizens line, I love it when I go to tax office and when I go to the bank. Outside of that, oh, by the way, Megamart used to have it 2 days a week. Now it's every day you get a discount when you can show that you're over 65. So I can work with that. Now, what are we talking about? The old retirement model: work, stop, and then decline. That is an outdated model. It was the closing chapter. That model is no longer fit in terms of what we now know about our human existence. Little history. Retirement goes back to Germany. 1889, the world's first old age pension system was created. Initially set at age 70. It was lowered to 65 in 1916. But guess what? At that time, only 3% of people lived beyond age 65. It was a scam. It was never made to work. The average life expectancy back then was about 48 years. Let that sink in. Now, at age 65, the average female can expect to live to 86. That's 20 more years. The average man, 18 more years. So that model is no longer relevant. The new retirement model: work, transition, then you reinvent yourself. Retirement is a design. So what is this thing called wellness in retirement now? Aligning mind and body and relationship and purpose for the anchor leg of life. It's a challenge that can be met. Even though for many of retirees, for one thing for sure, the money is not going to be enough because you have a lot more years to live way past what we used to call retirement. Now, let me show you some of the bad news. Old age in Jamaica is not a nice thing. In the African worldview, we talk about the past. A lot of people deny it. The Lord will provide. We don't plan for it. For many people, by the time you get there, it's a hand-to-mouth existence. Some people say that the children are their pension, them days done. Many of us had a very bad experience with insurance agents. You pay insurance and then nothing to show for it. A lot of women believe that hotness is going to be forever. You've heard about P pension and Hero Bank deposit. If not, I can talk about this later on, so you can, if you're not sure what this is about. Now, that model doesn't carry you very far. A lot of men become parasites and predators as they get older because nothing was put down at all. Not a thing was put down. Now, the politics of birth rate differential. An interesting thing has been happening globally. Most developed nations are not replacing their working age population. Jamaica a couple of years ago was at 1.95. You need 2.1 to replace your population. Jamaica is now to about almost maybe 1.7 or 1.8. US, UK, Canada is way below that. So that there's a serious problem ahead. So we have some problems going forward. By 2016, we had gone because you need an appropriate response in terms of the declining birth rate. And we are in trouble just as the rest of the world is. Jamaicans are living longer. Although the total population has increased by only 8%, over 41%, that's what the increase of persons 65 and over. The projection is by about 2030, we're going to have more people over 65 than under 15. As it stands now in places like Japan, they're selling more adult diapers than baby diapers. We're not far behind in terms of that reality. Life expectancy in Jamaica has now risen to 76.2. It's above the global average of 71.5. Improvement in medicine, health awareness. People are living longer, but the money not taller. As I said, in the next 30 years, the number of people 65 and older would be much larger than those under 15. The percent of those over 80 will increase from 2% to 7%. Now, there's an elite club, the over 70, and I'm a proud member of that club. I'm 74. But not many people get to be in that club. The low-income countries, only 2% make it there. The USA, 11% make it there. Italy, 17%. Jamaica, 6% make it to the 70 and over club. That's a very interesting place to be in. So you see where we fit. We are doing much better than the low income, the middle income, the small island, the Latin America. We are just below the upper middle income countries in terms of what we're doing with life expectancy, that over 70 club. Very important club to be in. Now, what are you going to do with that extra time? You make it to 70, men have 14 more years. Women have 16. Somebody talked about relaxing and resting. We don't have that much rest. The question now is, as the clock ticks, what are you going to do with that extra 8,760 hours you have each year after you retire? How much rest you can do? You need to be prepared for this. The public health services have to be reconfigured to deal with this change in profile of our population. It's a whole different situation, folks. Now we talk about 4 legs of life. Childhood. I call childhood, say, up to 10, 15. Then education and training. That's from, say, high school through college. 15 through 25. Then the third, work and family. You build your work life, you build your family life, but then comes what we used to call retirement. I call that anchor leg. That's a special place. That's what we're talking about today. Now, the 4 phases of retirement. Retirement have 4 phases. Phase 1 is called the vacation. Some of you talked about, you wake up when you want to. The best part, no routine at all. For many people, this is wonderful. Relax, fun, freedom. This lasts for maximum 1 year. Then it loses the luster. You begin to feel bored. You miss the routine. Huh? And you ask yourself, is that all there is to retirement? Then you start feeling that, boy, no, something not right, you know. Your friends, some of you still at work, the most common phone call you get, guess who dead? Guess who not feeling well? The most common thing you're attending are funerals. Every week a funeral, sometimes all 2 in 1 week. It starts to get depressing. Remember I told you so. That is not, that start is really rough for many people, very rough. Phase 2. When you get past that first part with the vacation period, you start to move into the big 5 losses. The loss of routine. Your life has no routine. The loss of identity. Because remember, for many people, for the previous phase of your life, your identity was tied to your job and your children. Your relationship. We lose many of the relationships that we established at work. Many of your friends are connected with work. Many start to lose your sense of purpose, your sense of power. For some people, it's awful. I had a case that I was helping a gentleman with in Florida. This man was a senior judge. And he said, Dr. Semaj, I have a problem, you know. For the last 30 years of my life, when I entered a room, what I heard was all rise, the level of respect. Now, he was retired for about 3 years, and he said, when I come into my house, not even the dogs stand up. His sense of identity was gone. His sense of purpose was gone. So you can understand how that can be debilitating for many people. But the worst part of phase 2, the 3 Ds, decline. For many who are not prepared, your physical and mental health can start declining. So that's why we talk about the preparation for wellness. The depression that kicks in because you have nothing to do. And then the other D, divorce. Anyone told you about that? The fastest growing area of divorce is what we call gray divorce. People over 65 filing for divorce. And more often it's the women filing for divorce. Because you figure you have 15, 20 more years and that the man no one go nowhere, no one do nothing. No, you want to do something with your life now. I had a case recently where this woman, 74, filed for divorce. It was rough because, you know, how you going to divide the resources? But guess what? Her daughter had seen her mother struggle all these years. Her daughter bought the house from the parents so that the father got some money, the mother got some money, but the daughter was the person to buy the house, and then she gave it to her mother. And the mother now started to craft her life. So remember I told you, divorce is also a part of retirement because people decide, no, I want to make something else of my life. Then now, coming out of that, you move into phase 3, trial and error. You ask yourself, how can I make my life meaningful again? How can I contribute? What about the things I can do? Phase 3 can deliver some disappointment and failure because you're trying some things, you're trying to find a way out. So what we're doing today is helping to prevent you from what happens by the time people get to phase 3. Because the next phase, the anchor leg, many are not prepared for this leg. So you either gradually or rapidly start to fade. But it doesn't have to be this way, folks. It does not have to be this way. Why do I say that? We can do something about it. these stages are not ages. Some people go through them faster than others. Huh? It's not necessarily linear. Some can alternate between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, but you go through all of them, sometime in different order. The world has now replaced the word aging with the word longevity. When you think about growing old, which word is more appealing? Aging? Listen, man, buildings get old, trees get old. Longevity is a different word. That's the word that we now use, longevity. 59% of retirees and pre-retired would like to work in some form while they're retired. And the data is telling us that it makes sense. Many people now see that what the retirement thing, a new chapter in life. A new chapter in life. Not to wind down, not for rest and relaxation, it's a new chapter in life. Because you are still young enough, but you're much smarter now. The data shows that what people in retirement now wish more than is to be seen as being useful. We're not talking about being youthful. You want to be useful, but you must prepare for that if that's what you want. The data is showing us that what people want for retirement is to be more active, 79%. More active. Now, how do you get to be this? You have to prepare for it. It's the biggest difference between people over 60 today versus a generation ago. People want to be more active. By the way, you see some pictures of me? That's how I prepared for my after 70 routine. You prepare for it. The data is telling us now it's about saging, not aging. Older can mean better. You can choose to sage, not age. Now look at this data here. The average age for Nobel Physics laureates. In the 70s, it was 53. In the 80s, it jumped to 60. In the 90s, it jumped to 62. In the early 2000s, it jumped to 65. Since 2011, the average age of physics laureate was 72. You understand the implication of that? It is people are getting smarter and aging better. That's why I call it saging. Saging. So there are 4 pillars of wellness in retirement. The physical pillar, the emotional and mental pillar, the social and relational, and the purpose pillar. There is a reason why the physical pillar is number 1. And you start preparing for that as early as possible. Why do I say that? If you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? The physical wellness pillar. That must be established and that must be in place because this is on that everything else hinges. Exercise is the most powerful longevity drug. It has the greatest power to determine how and for how long you will live for the rest of your life. Exercise. Nothing comes close, folks. Nothing comes close. Now, what does exercise do? It facilitates health span, not just lifespan. Insulin sensitivity, mitochondrial development, immune system, hormone adaptation, neuroplasticity, anti-obesity. Your health span is triggered by your exercise. That's the most important thing to prepare for and to do. Now, I lift weights 3 days per week. And the reason for that is simple. This is my way of working my part It is my anti-cancer, anti-depression, anti-tendon, anti-cartilage, muscle strengthening, bone strengthening, anti-dementia, and anti-cardiovascular disease preparation. All by me lifting weights 3 times per week. As the years pass, muscle mass in the body shrinks. You lose strength and power. We call it sarcopenia. It begins around age 35. You lose about 1 to 2% a year. By age 60, it accelerates to about 3% a year. It may be mild or moderate or severe, but folks, that's what you're up against. So you have 2 options for retirement. You can either be old and agile, or by default, you become old and fragile. That's why the number 1 pillar, on the average, adults who don't do regular strength training will be losing 4 to 6 pounds of muscle per decade. This means you start replacing muscle with fat. This means you're not only growing weaker, you're getting slower. Again, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. You know exactly what to do. There's something that we recommend. We call this the prepare yourself for the centenarian decathlon. This is a process developed by Peter Attia, Dr. Peter Attia. And you don't just guess, folks. You plan for it. You ask yourself, what are the 10 most important physical tasks you want to be able to handle for the rest of your life? And then you train for it. That's why we call it the centenarian decathlon. Let's say, look, we plan to live to be 100. The centenarian, what about that last decade? What you want to be able to do? This is my 10. So you choose your 10 and you prepare for it. What are your 10? You write down your 10 now. Off-road, hiking without fatigue. Carrying and lifting groceries 1 mile. Being able to, I travel regular. When I see folks trying to put their luggage in the overhead in the plane, and math dropped in my head. You must be able to carry your luggage, lift 30 pounds, and put it in the overhead bin. Change your car tire. How many of you can change your car tire now? My number 5, play 18 holes of golf, walk in the course. I play with my sons still. And by the way, beat them. Gym workout with my sons. Again, that's one of my high points in my life. And when I go in the gym with them, my sons, one is in his 40s, other one is just turned 30. Again, they have to keep up. Number 7, maintain personal hygiene. You can bathe yourself, groom yourself, dress yourself, all of that. 8, use public transportation. Navigate public space without difficulty. The many older people can't take even a plane. There's one of the biggest racket nowadays, I saw every day when I'm on a plane, I count many times 40 people taking a wheelchair to get on. But by the time you're coming off, only 20 people want a wheelchair. It's a scam. People use wheelchairs so they can get on the plane fast, huh? But by the time, no, I'm not playing that game at all. You don't play game with that. Number 10, the desire and the ability to engage in satisfying sexual activities. So if you don't plan for it and prepare for it and train for it, you can't. So these are the things that I have programmed for my final decade, which my plan is for between 90 and 100. Could be longer, but we'll see. But at least I'm planning, all right? How do I do that? This is my centenarian workout. I'm now 74, all right? Walking, zone 2, plus VO2 max. Farmer's carry, that's where you walk, you carry the weight in both hands. Dumbbell push press, renegade rows, bench press, chair squat, heel raise, dead hang, wall sit, planks. Now, I do a component of this each day. I may do 5 activities. Some days I only do 3. But again, I am training for my final decade. And here's how you set the weight. To get stronger, you have to lift weights that are, 1, heavy enough so you respect them, but light enough so you don't fear them. Typically between 75 to 80% of your 1 rep max. So there's no way around this, folks. You see how so many older people are just fragile? Because no weight training. Can't never wanted. So this is what my day looked like, my workout day.
Yes,
And I've been doing this for the last 15 years.
nice.
Hmm?
Solid.
What you're seeing here, deadlift,
And again, 6 that dot. 7 strong. Crazy 8. Yeah.
so these are the kind of things, folks, that don't happen by accident. Renegade row, leg press, that's how you get it done. Start where you are, start where you are and work on it. Now, the body carries the dream. You can't enjoy retirement in a body that's constantly in the repair mode. It impacts your mobility, your strength, your balance, and your energy. So that's why the number 1 plank is the physical plank. Your sleep and nutrition essential. And the things you need to do to cultivate the habits to keep you healthy, because it's a one-way journey. Pillar number 2, the emotional and the mental wellness. It's an important pillar, the emotional side. How do you strengthen this? You have to guard your inner climate. The schedule changes, but your sense of self must be protected. You don't have no work to go to, nobody calling on you. People don't even remember all the wonderful things you did. How do you preserve your identity? How do you make your emotional adjustment? How do you stay mentally resilient to the changing times? Absolutely important for that pillar. How do you manage your emotional transition? Many people get stuck grieving over their lost roles, what they used to be. They become fearful that they're now seen as irrelevant. Not even your children want to hear anything from you. How do you adjust to the unstructured time, all the free time you have? Peace requires intentional mental practice. You have to prepare for this and work towards it. What are the tools? Quiet time, meditation, and prayer. Journaling. Write about 3 good things each day. Lifelong learning. Continuous learning new things. Nature therapy. Spending time in nature. Very important for you. Pillar 3, the social and the relation. Now, I told you that some people are going to be losing out here because, you know, you lose your partner. You don't know how. That I write a lot about how do you build relationships after 60? How do you find love after 60, after 70? It's a whole nother game. Loneliness in retirement can be as harmful as a bad diet. How do you preserve the relationships that you have? How do you build new relationships? A meta-analysis of over 3 million people across 148 studies reveal that relatively strong social relationships increase the likelihood of your survival by 50%. It is not optimal for us to live alone. I wrote an article a couple of days before Hurricane Melissa, reminding people, it's not good, you don't go through hurricane by yourself. So you in your house by yourself, your neighbor in for them house by themselves. Call somebody, no? Lock up your house and go stay with somebody. Or invite somebody to come stay with you. Loneliness is a killer. Hmm? How do you rebuild your social and ecosystem in retirement? Work, friendships fade unless they're nurtured. People complain, nobody not calling them, but you calling people. Prioritize your partner and your spouse connection. Rediscover your partner and your spouse. Build intergenerational material in relationships. Start new relationships in your communities. Walking groups, volunteer, faith communities, book clubs, hobby clubs. These are the things you plan, you look forward to keep you going. Set healthy boundaries. Support, but without becoming drained. Because don't allow people to draw you into all kind of things just to wear you down. Say yes with intention. Say no without guilt. No, I don't want to do it. I'm not interested. It's your time now. It's your time. And now, pillar number 4, purpose and structure. More say that people lose a sense of purpose. You don't have no work to go to, nobody not call you to ask you information. But you have to build that in. The body needs rest, but the souls need a reason. A reason to get up in the morning. A reason to live, the will to live. New challenges. You need this. That's the 4th pillar. Some talk about the encore career. So what is the next career you want to start? There's so many things that we can start. I started a thing at the Above or Beyond some years ago, where it's called the Tried and Proven. Many companies would call me, said they're looking for a young manager who can help to start a new division and so on. I said, listen, how about if I find you a recently retired person who don't want to work full time, don't want to work every day, but they'll come in 3 days a week with all the knowledge and skill they have, and they can, in 3 months, they can have it up and running. What's your encore career? The knowledge that you have. There's consulting, there's part-time work you can get paid for. How about mentoring, caregiving, volunteering? That's how we redefine work. How about the creative pursuits, writing, gardening, crafting? Contributed is fuel for your vitality. That's what gets you through. That's what builds you in the anchor leg. That's what really makes that retirement thing come to life. So your retirement wellness blueprint, you want to make sure that you at least plan for, at least from now, 1 action in each area. The physical, where you going to start from now? How is your exercise program now? How are you building it now? I started mine 15 years ago, just getting better. Your emotional and wellness, your mental component, how are you doing now? Do you need help? How about your social relational component? How about the purpose? Can you check all of these boxes now so you can start building on them to make sure when you get there, you are ready? Micro commitments build macro wellness. You start with the little pieces and they build up and they accumulate. You start now. So my closing message: retirement is not a downhill slide. It's your encore chapter. Your best thinking, your best health, and best contribution can still be ahead. It's about living intentionally, living consciously, and living well. Because my observation, time has told me that indeed the best is yet to come. So can we open the floor? Can we take some questions? So we can,
All right, do we have questions for Dr. Semaj?
if I can't hear them, you will relay the question to me and then I will respond.
Any questions about retirement and wellness? All a minute.
This is not exactly a question, but it's a commendation. It was well done, well received. That's why there are no questions.
Oh, yes. What about you? What's your exercise program now?
I was bumping up for exercise.
Do you have any afterwards lifting exercise for us? They want to lift some weights now, sir.
Well, you can listen, man. I believe in it. I practice it. I do it. One thing I recommend is, look, gym fee costs less than hospitalization. All right. And if you start with it, I have a gym at home. Why? Because when COVID came, I used to go to Spartan 5 o'clock in the morning. And when COVID came, so I built a gym at home. I bought some weights from Gitscom. You know, I bought some 5 pound and some 10 pound and some 20 pound and some 30 pound and some 50 pound, a barbell. I bought a bench and set up my own gym at home. But I still like to go to the gym too, so I can work out with other people and I can work out some of the bigger equipment that I don't have at home. But even just to start out with body weight activities. And the good thing about working with a trainer, you don't get hurt. Somebody can make sure you're doing it the right way. Enough of you ladies are afraid of weights, but you don't want to get too bulky. You're not get bulky. You don't have the hormones. You don't have the underpinning to get bulk. No, but you will get fitter and stronger. The bones will get stronger and you will live longer.
Dr. Semaj, good afternoon, and to everyone again. You know, you have motivated me even more because I've started to do some exercises.
Yes.
You know, when I lie down sometime, when I get up, I feel a little pain. And I said, so early? And so I started the gym exercise and it has really been good. I would really encourage persons to really do start the exercises, no matter how short the time is, if it's even 15 minutes a day or 3 times for the week. You know, it is really helpful. It really strengthens your muscles, your body, you know, give you more body strength.
Absolutely.
You know, so really thank you for that.
Absolutely. I remember that was pillar one. Pillar one for retirement, because guess what? Either you are old and agile or you're going to be old and fragile. Let me just mention one thing here. The number one cause of death for people over 65, believe it or not, it's related to falling. Now, let me explain. You don't just fall and drop dead. Because you are fragile, because you are weak, you trip and fall. And when you fall over 65 and break a hip or break a femur, it takes about 6 months to heal. And during that time, many of your body components start to weaken. People who break a hip or a femur after 65, 30% are dead within a year. Every time I've spoken about this to an audience or a group, somebody points out, but you know, I remember a friend of mine, you know, who fell and fractured and so and so and so, and yet they died about 6 months later. So that the death isn't associated with the fall, but because the body started to weaken. So you start now, folks, because building that pillar, the weights that you see me lifting, because I started a long time ago. And I build on, I go to the gym 3 days a week. The days in between, I walk for at least 30 minutes. On the weekend, I walk for an hour. I still do every 5K. I used to do 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons. Based on my time now, almost I sign up for once a month, I sign up for a 5K. Because it's cost effective. And I get to test myself and to see what my time is and so on. And all I want to know how I did with my age group. One of the problems is now, many times they have the age group 60 to 100 because it's only a handful of people in it. But to get my time. So you wanna start with that, folks. Make sure.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Semaj. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a series of books that he outlined. The Semaj Spa, MindSpa, Bodywork, Best is Yet to Come. And it says retirement do not mean that we're done or we finish. It just means that we just get started. So we don't say old age, we stage, right?
We don't
All
age,
right.
we age. And by the way, you can see that the SemajMindSpa.com, that's free.
Okay.
The Substack, that's free. You can just go online and just type it in, and I write about and I have lots of stuff on, because my focus is the second half of life. But then now the book, Age in Love and Relationships After 60, that's available on Amazon. Bodyworks, Exercise, Fitness, Strength, and Longevity, that's available on Amazon. And The Best Is Yet to Come, A Psychologist's Guide for Thriving Retirement, available on Amazon. And Amazon deliver in Jamaica now. Huh?
All right, thank you so much. Can we give him a round of applause? Well done. All right, so at this time, I'll ask Miss Ingram to do our closing remarks.
One remark that I got when we were doing the session in the planning phase, somebody asked me, Miss Ingram, where said me go? And my response was, whole people session. It was a good laugh, but it was fun being among you all today. Thank you so very much for coming and listening. We are about all we need to know about the will. Take the will thing serious, very, very serious. Or to save some money in the stock exchange. And we ended with Ms. Dr. Semaj, wellness in retirement. That's important. It makes no sense that you have worked your whole life and at the very end, you have no opportunity to enjoy what you have worked. So please let us take care of ourselves, not only for whole people, but for middle people middle age people like me in the middle age section. Yes, we have to learn to take care of ourselves. So thank you so much, Team MOJCA. It was a wonderful day, and I enjoyed being with you. Next year, around same time, same place, we'll meet again, probably a different batch. But until you retire, I'll keep having this session with you. So by the time you retire, it will be in your head what to do and how to react in retirement. Thank you. Have a safe trip home.
Amen.
Bye, Dr. Semaj.
It was my pleasure to be a part of this.
Bye-bye.